I'd never met a Lego modular set that I didn't love until today, and I built for the first time the Market Square. And I love Lego, but sorry, this set's a hot mess. This is the second modular set, came out in 2008. And, to give it a little bit of credit, again, this was the second in the series. Lego was still trying to figure some things out. Also, this was 2008, and there were a lot of pieces and a lot of techniques that just weren't available to the designers then. That being said, a lot of things I just don't like about this set. Starts with like this roof here, these tiles. I've had this completed for about 10 minutes, bring it over here and do this filming, and I've broken these off twice, and it's already driving me nuts. So we've this is second modular. We've looked at the last 18 in this series. This is number 19 of the 20 modulars, and we've revisited each one. We're going to same thing with this. There's plenty of things I want to tackle design wise to get it a little bit more up in on par with some of the more modern modulars. Also, just fix some of the silly things like these tiles and how the interior is designed. We're getting into more of that here in a little bit. Again, Market Square 2008. Looking forward to doing some improvements today. I did not buy this set when it came out in 2008. I didn't get into the modulars until a couple years after that. So instead of buying the full set on eBay and spending a crazy amount of money, I went about parting it out through Bricklink. Now, I had a good chunk of these pieces already. I did need to buy some of that big pile of medium blue you see in the middle there, and also a bunch of dark blue that's called for in this set. I'm not sure about the ultimate cost. I think I probably spent about 60 bucks, maybe closer to 70, just to get the parts that I needed. I'm also putting this on a MILS plate, just like we have been on all the other modulars through this series. And this is a special MILS plate, which we've used on a couple other modular sets. This one had a crawl space, and by digging out that MILS plate, we can make an actual basement. More on that in a little bit. So we've got all of our pieces laid out. Now we get into actually building this set. And we start on the left side. The left half of this build is like a little market. And to be frank, it's very underwhelming. I do plan on spending some time on this to make it more interesting. If I don't, I'm hard pressed to even want to include this in the city I'm going to build once I'm done with this modular series. One thing you'll notice as we get into building this, again, using the MILS plate, you notice those weird colors, the green and the blue we have here. Well, on the original, there was just a dark gray base plate that was visible here. Again, with the way MILS work, we have to use those top plates. And one of the things I've been doing all through the modular series is where this happens, has been updating and giving an actual floor to each of these modulars. So what you're seeing here, adding this floor pattern with the little plates and tiles in this pattern, this is all something I came up with a bunch of extra little pieces that I had laying around. So I think this floor is a big improvement for now as we're initially building the set, but I do want to revisit this and work more with it. Let's talk now about a substitution I made when I was parting this out that saved us a lot of money. There is a arch piece that is supposed to be navy blue. There's supposed to be 5 of them in this set. I subbed it out and went with tan. That's because these navy blue arches, either the original arch like was in this set or a newer what is called a raised arch, those pieces in dark blue are worth either $5 or sometimes more than $10, and there's no way I wanted to spend that much. So I subbed it out and used tan. Those tan arches are going for about 30 cents a pop right now. Now we dive into the main building on this set, and as referenced earlier, this building has a crawl space, which you can see here. It's about 4 bricks tall, but by using the MILS plate and kind of carving it out, we can actually create a basement that is 5 bricks tall. One thing that the early modulars that Lego produced back in 2007, 2008, 2009, they lacked any real character or theming on the inside of the building, basically just an open slate. So we're building the set as is right now, but we are going to revisit and add some details and furniture and things like that in these interior floors. And by carving out and making a full basement, we can actually use that space too. Building around, one other thing we're going to look at too is kind of developing some better backyards for these early modulars. Really, nothing was added to the backyard on this model. So as we get into the second and the third floors, I like the medium blue color scheme. It's one of the few things I really like about this set. Um, what I don't like, the stairs are kind of very rudimentary. And the other thing I want to talk about is, the design of this set. It was, it's considered the second modular, but it was also given at the time a different kind of branding. It's called Lego Factory. Again, just kind of a different kind of design. And this was modular. It's built to fit with other modular buildings. And these floors are square. And especially when we get into the actual third floor here, with the way the stairs are designed coming up through the middle of the building, you're actually able on this third floor to be able to turn it and have it face different directions. Again, it was kind of a way that the designers allowed the user to get a little bit more utility out of this modular system. But what it creates is some weird design choices, like right here. So you see that hole in the middle is where the stairs come up, but there's a door there on the right going out to this patio. Well, the stairs come up on the left side here. So you open that door and you basically just fall down the stairwell. It doesn't make any sense. One of the things that I want to revisit and fix. A couple other piece substitutions I did to save a couple bucks. This is supposed to be an owl right here, but that was going to be a couple bucks. And I had this little black mini figurine. Plus, I thought that was a little fun little change. So I did that. And then over here, this railing right here, these hoses, these are supposed to be white, but I changed it to black, and here's why. I had some black hoses. I would have had to order the white hoses. Those white hoses are going for like 15 bucks each. Just that hose in white, 15, and it called for four of them. No way I was going to spend 60 bucks on that part. Now let's dive into some design enhancements. And first thing I want to look at is this roof on the main building. I mentioned before, just not particularly well done. These tiles keep falling off. It's just not that great. I think relatively easily we can make some fun improvements here. So what I've done is gone and got some extra snot bricks and some other tiles, and started coming up with a different way to approach this, adding some slanted bricks as well to make it more of a clean edge. And I really liked taking these tiles and just putting them at an angle in between those um, round 2x2 tiles. I think is a nice look. Turning it on that angle, it's something you don't see a whole lot with Lego. So I kind of like where this is headed. Now, notice that very top 1x2 brick that I've put there. Notice I've used a Technic brick with two holes as opposed to a snot brick with two studs on the side. And that's because I'm going to put a gray 2x2 tile there. And if we use regular snot brick, then the tan studs are going to show. If we do it this way, using two of those light bluish gray pins with the Technic brick, the studs that are showing will actually match the color of that 2x2 light gray tile. So it's a much cleaner look overall. Just a very subtle little detail that I like to pay attention to, especially at a high profile spot at the top of the building like this. Then we add at the top a little rounded top to kind of match that round tile there. So overall, I like this look. I think much improved over the original. I'd love to hear what you guys have to think, though. Now I want to fix this silly design on the top floor where that door opens up and you fall down those stairs. We're going to tear this up and move that door so it is not right against the stairwell. I think that's a nice little improvement. And while we're at it, we're going to add a little theme to this top floor. And I thought, with the way the floor plan was, just a little office desk along this wall would work out fine. So now we put the top floor back together. Now let's jump back to the ground floor. We want to put a theme in here. A little bit challenging because of the floor plan and the stairs going up the middle. First thing I wanted to do was add a little bit of character to those stairs, so I added that wall. Then I got to thinking about what we could put in here, and one thing that I've got a lot of laying around is swords and knives, and I thought, how about we build a little store where you can go buy swords and knives. I had done something similar to this in a previous city, and it turned out to be pretty fun. So we've got this space. So here we go. What we do is create just kind of these with a bunch of clips, being able to hang these along the wall. It kind of works well with the floor plan as people kind of walk around that circle. There's just a bunch of swords and knives and other things like that hanging on the walls that you can pick from and buy. I thought this was a fun little addition. Now we get to work on the second floor. Need a theme for that. And just like I have a lot of swords laying around in bins, I've got a lot of guns laying around in bins. So I thought a natural progression, you sell swords on the ground floor, let's sell some guns on the second floor. Now, I'm well aware this is not how guns are displayed in general in a normal gun shop. But again, this is Lego, so we're taking a few liberties. But I really liked how this came together too, with some guns hanging on the wall, some bins, on some tables, and there's some ammunition on those shelves. And for this new basement, nothing too crazy. Thinking about maybe some storage for some of the things that are upstairs, you know, a couple other, like a shelf, something like that. And then also, how about they are hiding Frankenstein? Now I want to tackle this very bland backyard on a market square. And I'm trying to think about things you don't normally see in Lego City. And I got to thinking, you know what? How about a cemetery? So we're going to start off with putting a fence around this whole backyard. And you can see I'm using just a couple bricks there to create this fence that's going to go all the way around the backyard. This is kind of the same style of fence that's on the front of the museum modular. So then we add just a few different kinds of tombstones here to make ourselves a little cemetery. And I love adding little pop culture references. Can anyone guess what movie this little sign is pulled from? So here's our refurbished market square. Just a couple other little updates that we did. Kind of redid the tiling on the front here to make it look a little bit better and better match other modulars. And in the back here, we did turn, these were solid tan bricks here, we turned those into windows. So we've added this little cemetery in the back, added themes to every level on the inside, and redid some of the design, especially around the top, make it look just a little bit better, more in line with other modulars. I think we've vastly improved this version of the market square, but I love to hear what you guys have to think about it.